Local 4 News begins right now with a breaking news alert.
And that breaking news is all across Metro Detroit with the flash flooding turning our freeways into small lakes everywhere. Several drivers, as you see here, needing to be rescued. Thanks for joining us this noon. That flash flood warning has been extended all the way through 2:15 this afternoon for all of the metro area. We're talking Macomb, Oakland, as well as Wayne counties. And this noon, we have team coverage to bring it to you all. Priya, as well as Brandon, tracking the radar, Guy on the flooded Lodge Freeway. And we also have our Tim Pamplin, who is following the mess along I-75. And let's start things off with you, Tim. How is it looking? Any better?
Oh my goodness gracious me, no, I think it's getting progressively worse, my dear. Look at this. This is westbound 94 to southbound 75. Several cars got unstuck here. The commute this morning has taken up to 4.5 hours at this point. Drivers just stranded. Look at this. It's unbelievable. There are semis, cars, drivers with absolutely nowhere to go. I saw some school children and their parents. They can't get to school. A young man had a date with a judge, couldn't make it to the courthouse in time. And there are some good stories coming out of all of this. People helping other people. Roll that sound. When you broke down, Liz, you tell me, did you go through a flood or?
Just a lot of water, I think, was the cause of it. And luckily I found Juan here and helped me out. So you meet good people along the way. Pay it forward, right?
That's right, paying it forward. That tow truck driver we saw just pull up is now backed up. Not too sure what's going on, but this young lady here doesn't quite know what's happening. I think that tow truck came for her and not too sure what's happening. But anywho, I was up top side here. Up on top of this ramp is a pumping station that was just been repaired. I spoke to the engineers up there about an hour ago, and they said, yeah, it's a problem with the pumping station. They just installed a new pumping station and the fuse blew. And they got here too late to replace it. The damage was done. So now they got a major problem upstairs. They're trying to fix that. So, okay, so the tow truck is now coming. People are just dealing with it the best they can. Not much they can do. Nowhere for them to go. That's the scene right now along the 94 ramp to 75. Back to you guys in the studio.
Oh, what a mess. You certainly feel for everyone just stranded there. What a hopeless feeling, Tim. Thank you. And it's not any better along the Lodge Freeway, right in the heart of downtown, right at Cobo Center. Guy, the images that you've been showing us there of cars totally submerged. You could barely see them under that water.
Well, I know this, and the storm sewer is completely overwhelmed, Rhonda. Now, we can tell you that southbound Lodge, fine now. The 75 ramp to southbound Lodge is fine now. But look at the northbound or outbound Lodge. This is what happened around 7:30, 7:45 this morning. People trying to leave the city, going northbound on the Lodge, hit this. A stretch of water they now not so affectionately call Lake Cobo.
I looked up and this little Chevy had traversed, well, about halfway through it, got about 3/4 of the way through it, and then clearly had stalled and then started to float backwards. So I called 911.
Jefferson west of Cobo was flooded as well. Storm sewers so swamped the water actually lifted up a section of road next to Joe Louis Arena, flooding the Jefferson exit from the Lodge. So motorists had nowhere to go. Waters were rising. The only solution, go back the way they came.
I really credit Detroit police. They did a wonderful job. They responded quickly. They turned us all around. We had us going the opposite direction on Jefferson and kind of got us back into the city.
Meantime, police had rescued the driver and 2 others and were trying to clear the car, but the heavy equipment got stuck. So a flatbed from the same company was towing the cat, while the cat was lifting the Chevy, which then slid off as the water continued rising. They finally got it out of here, and you can see the waters have receded somewhat here. The pump's beginning to catch up. Now, we talked to MDOT. They say in this case they had no reports of any pumps go out. They believe that this was just storm sewers that were overwhelmed and pumps that were over capacity. Michigan State Police report 6 to 7 motorists had to be rescued, 3 of them here on the northbound Lodge. Nobody was injured. It is going to take some time for this to clear. They hope it will be open by the time everybody wants to leave the city for the evening commute. We are live from the northbound lodge, just on the west side of Joe Louis Arena in Cobo. I'm Guy Gordon, Local 4. Rhonda, back to you.
All right, Guy, thank you. And thankfully, no one was seriously injured, but certainly cars, repairs, those are very expensive. And if we have flooded freeways, we also have flooded basements, and that can be a mess as well. Priya Mann joins us now live from Highland Park for that part of the flooding consequences. Priya?
Rhonda, there's a little bit of good news here. The water around this home has finally started to recede, but that's small consolation for this homeowner. Take a look at the basement of Sharif Al Mubarak's home. Now, it is flooded with about 2 feet of a mix of rainwater and sewage. Now, we're not actually wading into the water ourselves. This water could be dangerous. There's a chance it could be electrified. So we're not getting into the water directly, but you can see the amount of damage that's been left behind. Now, this standing water, a mix of rainwater and sewage, is about 2 feet deep. And the homeowner tells me he just bought a new washer and dryer, a new furnace. All of that is at a loss now. He's saying he's about out $5,000. Now, if you're wondering why he's not getting the water pumped out, well, this was really a lake just a short time ago. This entire intersection was submerged in water, and really the sewers are overflowing. So we did have plumbers come here this morning who said they couldn't pump the water out until the water finally recedes. So this water, 2 feet of sewage and rainwater, is just sitting in his basement. He has an 18-month-old granddaughter who lives here in the home, so he's quite upset. Now, right after we finish this live shot, we are heading over to the municipal building in Highland Park to get some answers here. He says the city told him that he needs to get a sub pump, but in a situation like this, there's nowhere for the water to go. So he's feeling a little bit frustrated right now, and he wants to get some answers, and we're working to help him get those. Reporting live from Highland Park, I'm Priya Mann, Local 4.
All right, Priya, thank you. A little frustrated. I think I'd be furious. I mean, $5,000 worth of damage on new appliances that you just purchased. It's pretty frustrating. And I was talking to Brandon. One, we have 7,000 people without power as well, so that's a big problem. But we've been seeing these freeways, whenever we get a heavy rain, really flooding out, particularly right around, you know, the inner city of Detroit.
So maybe there are some issues with the construction and drainage along these highways, but I'll tell you another thing. We have had a number of very heavy rain events right in the heart of downtown Detroit. 75, 94, the Lodge, 696, and that's exactly where this one hit as well. Flash flood warning continues. A lot of the heaviest rain is gone, but we're having trouble draining it all out. So any additional rain is going to cause additional problems. Central and northern Wayne County into southern Oakland and southern Macomb counties until 2:15. Certainly, we'll let you know if it gets extended. Boy, it just keeps coming. It is not a major problem everywhere. It has been this thin strip throughout southern Ontario, parts of Wayne County into southern Oakland, and even Livingston County getting tons of rain. We're not done yet. Luckily, we're in this sort of gap where we're getting some breaks, but there is more wet weather coming out of Ohio and out of Pennsylvania that is coming your way. Look at this radar estimate right downtown Detroit. This is unofficial, but over 4.5 inches of rain in a very short amount of time. No chance to make good of that. Other rains in your hometowns, almost 3 inches of rain in Livonia, West Bloomfield 2 3/4 inch, Westland over 2.5 inches, Farmington right there, and almost 2 inches in Ann Arbor, most of that this morning. More rain again for today and tomorrow, so we'll update you on that. We love our Kim DeJulio, but it's never a good thing when she's here on the noon show. Trouble still.
Absolutely. It has been a really tough morning out there for all commuters, especially those of you headed towards the downtown area. This is the problem we've been looking at all morning. Southbound I-75 closed at Clay. It's been like that for hours now. These cars have been sitting there. So in the meantime, you don't want to get yourself in this mess. So use Woodward if you are headed towards downtown this morning. Also, we've got flooding on I-94. It is closed right now on the eastbound side right at Michigan Avenue. So if you are traveling this way, exit at Greenfield to avoid that. We have flooding on Southfield Freeway as well. The northbound side closed at Michigan Avenue. So if you are taking that way, use Oakwood to get around that. Southbound Southfield Freeway closed at Ford Road. Use Warren to avoid that. Rhonda.
Sounds like wherever we are, we should just stay there, Kim. Thank you. We will, of course, keep you updated on traffic closures all day long at clickondetroit.com as well as on our mobile app, so you can always find it there.